Okay, today is Monday, September 2nd, 2019. It's Labor Day. It's about 8 o'clock probably. Yeah, 8:18. So basically 8:30. And like I said, it's Labor Day weekend. And I'm in Abingdon, Virginia. Beautiful Abingdon, Virginia. Which you're not going to be able to see much of anything because it's very dark. And my GoPros don't look good in the night, which is terrible considering how much night filming I do. I need a better low light camera. So yeah, it's Monday. Trying to get my phone to connect to this GoPro so I can watch the video and see how lighting looks. This spot's really lit. We'll probably finish over here because this looks really cool. Lit in like the traditional way, not like the super hip, modern, like that's lit, yo. Right? Yeah, it's lit. Like it's not dark, so it's like lit, you know? Oh shit. Oh shit, it's lit. Alright. This will be a cool spot. I mean, you're gonna hear lots of water. I should have just stayed here for that whole long story about the asylum. So we're catching up. Day 9. Day 9, Sunday. It was Sunday, August. Shit. What day was it? Day 9 was Sunday, August 25th, 2019, okay? And I stayed the night at Westin at the Hampton Inn again. I slept and ended up waking up, obviously, because I'm not dead, so I'm awake. So I definitely woke up. And so I decided I would do the tours. And like I told you, I initially planned to only do the order of doing the tours first, then recording guitar, which has not happened yet. Okay, I've yet to do that properly because, you know, doing the tour first so I have a good amount of history and I know the locations and I would know what I'm looking at is a better way of doing things. But the problem is I'm not very good about going about that because I always get so nervous to go about it, you know, and I don't want to do the tour and then be like, hey, by the way, I want to kind of be like, okay, I want to do this so that people don't like think it's like weird afterthought, you know. I want the people to not think it's a weird afterthought. I want them to think that it's what I'm there for, because it is. So, okay, I was just trying to get my phone set up. I don't want them to think it's an afterthought. So, I go in, and it's the same crew of people. Oh, by the way, something that, I don't know, I forgot to mention on my last one, is that, you know, I took a picture with the crew out front. I got a beautiful picture with these people, and I want to thank Gwen for being so nice to me. So Sunday rolls around, I'm like, I'm gonna do the tours because that place was awesome and I wanted to see inside. I really just went in the first 2 doors, you know. I had no idea what it looked like. So I arrived there at like 1 o'clock on Sunday because I'm super slow and my world's slower than everybody's. And I'm like sleeping and my sleep's always screwed up, especially when I get to sleep in a nice hotel room because then I just want to sleep like crazy. You know, sleeping in the RV is kind of nice because it's rough, and then like when you're sleeping rough you don't want to sleep as much. You know, you kind of just feel like you're moving and there's people all around you. Usually when you're sleeping in the RV, it's usually like at a Walmart or a truck stop or something, or rest stop, so there's like people everywhere, so you feel like you need to move, you know. But okay, so I sleep in a little late. I get there, luckily there were still tours, because I didn't really plan that worth a shit either. I get there, and turns out I asked them what tours I should go on. And I knew those people recognized me because they were the same people, and like I was making kind of a total spectacle of myself. So they tell me there's 3 options of tours. I basically told her which one's the best one. And because you can do the 1st floor, the 4th floor, or the clinically insane room. And it's like, clinically insane, that sounds so awesome, right? But it's not quite what it sounds like, to be honest, which is weird. But and then she said you can do one that's the 4th floor and the clinically insane and combined, and it's like 3 or 4 hours of touring. So I went ahead and did that, right? It's the best. It was only $40, which is a great deal, right? Like only $20 per tour. That's not bad at all. You know, that's a pretty good deal for that. So signed up, went on the 4th floor tour first. Walked around the whole asylum, saw everything, got lots of pictures. You can't video during that, so I didn't get any cool videos like I wanted, because all I really wanted was like a perspective shot, right? Using my session, my GoPro session, like what I'm holding right now, and a perspective shot of like walking through the hallways so that I could show a video of me walking through the hallways and make it look like we're in the asylum. I really never got any videos of the actual asylum because they didn't let me, and so it really blows because you can't get any environment, like the atmosphere of the idea of the asylum is not going to come through on my videos for this, which is a bummer. But the fact I got in it at all and that I got to go inside at all is actually sounds like it was a pretty big miracle, so, and a pretty big deal. So yeah, I walked through, you know, we saw all the floors. It was pretty cool. It's actually a lot more of a positive place than I thought, and you know, for such a menacing thing. But the only negative thing was that they give lobotomies to people. They gave lobotomies to people, but like it wasn't always right. And there was also people staying there who weren't supposed to be locked up in there. Those are probably the 2 things that are up. Like, you shouldn't, you know, they, I mean, wrongfully locking people up. Usually there'd be kids. Like, there were some kids staying in there that, you know, and then they'd stay their whole lives there. But the story of the lobotomy is interesting because there's this guy who invented a new way to do the lobotomy through the eyeball, and he visited the asylum for 2 weeks, and they had picked out only criminally insane people. You know, they had like 10 or 14 or something criminally insane people picked out for him. It might have been 20, I don't remember. It's like 20 or something picked out for him, and he decided to completely not listen to the choices. He did none of the people they had picked out that were actually criminally insane. He went around the freaking hospital and picked out random people and just gave them lobotomies, which is really horrible. It basically steals your soul. And yeah, I can't remember how many people it was. I mean, it's somewhere between 14 and 100 people, right? I think it was probably like 20 people or something. I don't really remember. Maybe 40. Nah, you know what? It was way more than that. I think it was like 200. I think he did 200 lobotomies in the 2 weeks. I don't know. The facts are pretty weird for me on that. So he gave a bunch of lobotomies to people. And you know what? They don't even take them to the surgical room. That's the weird part. They just bring them in to a regular patient's room, and they just go in their patient's room with this little pickaxe thing, stick it through their eyeball, give them a lobotomy, wiggle it around, and then they do it in the other eye. They do it in each eye, wiggle it around, have them tip their head over so it spills all the blood out into a bucket, and then they're done. Like, there's no surgical stuff. The guy didn't even use any cleaning. He didn't believe in germs. So he just wipe off the tool on a cloth and move on to the next person. He didn't believe in germs. It was like this super like basic thing where he just did. It's pretty sick, pretty gross. You know, that and the, you know, and then all the children that were staying there. That's probably the worst stuff going on there. I mean, people were killed by crazy people and stuff. There's, you know, some pretty ridiculous stories. You know, everything's pretty crazy. right? Because it's crazy, like a crazy, insane asylum. Everything was insane and bonkers and ridiculous and psychotic and all those fun words, because that's what it was. You know what I mean? It makes sense. So, yeah, I did that. Then I went to the criminally insane area. And that turns out that was much more of a bummer than I thought it was going to be, because I expected the criminally insane thing to be like, wow, I'm so glad I didn't do that tour only. I would have left that place so mad. And I think there's people with me that actually only did that tour. And I would say do not do only the criminally insane tour. If anything, you don't even need to do that tour, because that tour is basically, it's just a big spacious building with 2 corridors, and the corridors are extremely open, and there's showers in the corridor, and there's bathrooms in it. It's not even like, no one has an individual room. Basically everyone stays on a bed in this giant open area, and they stay on that bed, and then right beside the area there's a little wall, and on the other side they get to have like activities like cards and stuff. And then they shower in that area and they go to the bathroom. And then there's another side of it, there's just 2 of those, and then there's a fenced in area outside where they could go stand, and that's it. Like they had an area where you eat. There's that guy. They have an area where you eat, obviously, and they have an area where they put people to you know, like the hole, basically, for crazy people, where they just put you in isolation until you stop being crazy. It was not that anything special, you know. A few people had escaped there, I guess. That's a pretty interesting thing. 2 different groups used a screwdriver on a window, propped the window open, climbed out the window, and 2 of them, the first time they didn't manage to escape. The second time, because they got caught about 10 miles away, second time somebody did the same bit with a screwdriver and got through the windows. And these are bulletproof windows, so you're not supposed to they're bulletproof window but not escape proof, because this proved it, right? So they took the screwdriver and they did the same thing that other person did on the same window, but this time those 2 people actually escaped and were gone. At least that's what she said. So they were gone forever, which is really funny. Kind of good for them. And you know what? If they never got put back in an insane asylum again, then to me it tells me they weren't crazy. Like, they certainly weren't criminally crazy, because the thing is, if you can break out of there and nobody ever thinks you're crazy again, then why were you really in there in the first place? I mean, obviously if you're criminally insane, you had to do something bad, but like, if you don't do it ever again, it's kind of like disproving that they were really that crazy, because if you're really that crazy, you just end up right back in that spot, you know? Yeah, so I did the criminally insane tour, and then at the end I was sitting there hanging out, and I bought some t-shirts and stuff, and it was really empty, and I really was bummed out, because I wish I wouldn't have recorded on the day that it was so crowded, because how empty it ended up being. And it was so empty, and I ended up walking up to people. I'm like, hey, so is there any way that I could pay you guys to let me go into one of the patient's rooms? Because that's what I really wanted to do, was, you know, go into a patient's room and get the look of the asylum. And it was going around 5 o'clock, so they were about to close. So they were probably like, you know, I knew they weren't going to let me. And they're like, oh, we're about to close, so probably not today. Then I'm like, what about tomorrow on Monday? And they're like, well, we're not open on Mondays. And they're like, what you need to do is call the phone number, their main phone number, and you're going to have to ask the head lady. And I'm like, oh, man, I already emailed these people. Like, they already said I can only record outside. And then Gwen, the supervisor for the weekend, and she's only the weekend supervisor, told me to mention her name. So anyways, the next day rolls around, and they're like, oh, the head lady will be in her office on Monday, and she'll be the only one there. So you might get lucky and she'll let you in and record, because there'll be nobody there, which would have been fantastic, right? But turns out, like, I call the phone number and I tell her, I'm like, you know, I'm from Iowa, I'm going around recording acoustic guitar. She's like, yeah, I know who you are. You're supposed to be there on Friday. Because I'd emailed her. She knew who I was. She's like, we told you could play outside. And I'm like, really? I'm like, you know, Gwen, the manager, told me I could call you and have potential to come play in here. Like, I'm wondering if I gave you money, if you'd let me do this. She's like, we can send you a photo thing, but I don't know what your budget is, and I don't know if you can really afford this. And like kind of blasting me and being all negative like crazy. I'm sitting there like, you know, I'm just trying to get my project done, you know. And I didn't get to tell her because she thought I'd be there Friday. I didn't get a mention on the video or on the conversation that I was there all freaking weekend. So I ended up kind of plotting a little bit of revenge, not like just like satisfying stuff. Because what I did was I sent her an email that said I'd been there all weekend, and I'd already been there all weekend, and I enjoyed my time, and the staff and Gwen were some of the nicest people I had met so far. And then I sent her the pictures of me posing with the nurse staff ladies who run the place, because they all dress as nurses, which is fantastic. And that was some satisfying stuff. I was like, thank you for your time, and I want to thank Gwen for being so nice and generous to me, and just kind of a jab. I hope that didn't get Gwen in trouble though, but for letting me do that, because I told her she allowed me to record in the front 2 rooms. So I really hope that she didn't get, you know, in trouble. But I know that, you know, I hope she didn't get in trouble. But I really had fun kind of like being like, yeah, I kind of got some stuff anyways. I hope I didn't burn bridges with that place, but if that place isn't going to get me what I want anyways, it really doesn't matter, you know? And they actually had 2 pianos in there that I could have recorded on, kind of like I did at Villisca. I would have loved to have done that. I'd like to go back. There's plenty more. I'd love to stay there at night. I still want to go to that place. So yeah. And then I ended up leaving. You know, recorded all day. No, I didn't record all day. You know, I ended up hanging out, and then I left and went to my hotel. And I believe I still had my hotel. I think I stayed one final night at the hotel, and then I ended up, I don't know, leaving. I don't know, I think I just stayed in my hotel. I don't freaking know, dude. I think that's what it was. So that was Sunday, day 9. All right, we're getting it done. Cool. I think I'm gonna go now. Do the next one.